So let's go in depth on this topic. I'm going to talk now with admissions counselor Jayson Weingarten. Jayson, thanks for coming on with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, that story was quite revealing, and you work to help students get into college, to go through this process. So this must be depressing to see so many opting out, dropping out, or not even trying right now.
I think that's right. When you do look at the overall national picture, those are the numbers. Declines of enrollment about 3.2% year over year this year, 3.4% from the previous year before that. But that's just one of the stories. I think when you then look at the subset of colleges, our nation's leading institutions, the Ivy Plus schools of the universe, those are the schools that are actually seeing a dramatic increase in interest in number of applications. And so it really is a tale of two types of institutions, those two schools in Ohio that your piece mentioned, as well as the schools that are on the opposite side of the spectrum.
And why is that happening?
Well, I think when it comes to the most highly selective schools, it really comes down to the fact that most schools during the pandemic, they said and they claimed that they were test optional, that you did not need to submit your SAT scores or your ACT scores in order to apply. And this led to a lot of students thinking that they had a shot of earning admission to one of our nation's most highly selective schools. Now, of course, lower SAT scores, lower ACT scores, it probably correlates with other factors in the application that are also going to preclude someone from admission. And that's why you had schools like Princeton up 15% in numbers of applications last year. Yale was up 40% in early, Harvard 42%, MIT led the private schools with an increase of 66% of applications. And so it really is at that upper end, the most highly selective, our nation's leading institutions. They really encouraged a lot of students to apply, and many students followed those schools and received offers not of admission, but rather rejection letters.
Yeah, and we know that this is due to this pandemic. You know, people that, you know, were supposed to go on campus as freshmen or as seniors were stuck at home in their families' home, and it's just been really hard to embrace college in that setting. But now with campuses opening up and students being vaccinated, you would think that would bring people back. We know that community colleges in particular are hurting. Where are those potential students? And we know that community colleges often serve, you know, the poorer students among us. So what could be the impact there?
You know, a big part of that for the junior colleges, the community colleges, you know, the state-run institutions are that just in times of economic uncertainty, many students can't afford spending the time it takes to get one of these degrees or even the money. You know, I know that there's current conversations about making community colleges debt-free or completely paid for. But, you know, when you are looking at the cost of tuition and you're hearing the horror stories that might come into play with student loans, it becomes very difficult to for students during economic uncertainty to really be able to spend the time or money. Add on to that some of the problems that COVID has introduced with the virtual classroom just not being what most students want to sign up for. And you certainly have a kind of perfect storm situation where those community colleges, those junior colleges, and a lot of the state schools, which do so much for students at the lower end of the socioeconomic spectrum, they're just not able to meet the demands of the current day.
Yeah, and do you think we've lost a generation, Jayson, or do you think there's a chance that these young people who are not getting into college or wanting to go to college will come back? Because it could have impacts on their earning potential as they go through their lives.
I think that one thing we need to keep in mind is that a college degree, while it is certainly an amazing achievement, and certainly the studies that show economic earning for students that have a college degree versus those that do not, that is not the only path. And I think that one thing that the pandemic has perhaps shown is that there could be additional paths, different trade schools, different apprenticeship programs. I think that we could all want everyone to be knowledgeable We would all want everyone to be able to contribute to society in a positive way and have some sort of education to do so. But should we be saying that 3.7 million high school seniors a year, all of them need to go to college and earn a bachelor degree? Or are there many other paths that might make more sense for different types and a diverse array of students? I'll leave that question up and kind of for the individual to choose which of many paths might be the best for them.
Yeah, absolutely. But meantime, do you expect some universities to get creative in trying to recruit students that right now are opting out?
I think that you are going to definitely see a lot more creative recruitment, but then you're also going to see a lot more creative retention. Certainly this past year, a lot of schools were not wanting their students to transfer out of their institutions. If they had worked so hard to get a student to attend, they didn't want to get those leave. And you're seeing a few interesting examples of that. For example, Dartmouth, they over-enrolled this past year, and they offered a school that has an $8 billion endowment, $5,000 to up to 200 students, so $1 million overall, for students to live off campus because they enrolled over 1,200 students when they typically have an enrollment around 1,100. They don't want to give up any of those students, and that's a school that has an $8 billion endowment. You can imagine that schools that do not have even $1 billion, even $500 million, even $100 million of an endowment, how those tuition-dependent schools are going to fight tooth and nail. And I think that here at Ivy Coach, we as people that help students to put that best foot forward and submit as strong an application to as highly selective a school as possible, we imagine that there are some things that students can do that are going to greatly improve their shots of earning admission and being attractive for schools. And we hope that students understand the importance of the moment that we are in higher ed.
Well, Jayson Weingarten, we really appreciate your insights and your expertise on this. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Sure thing.